What's good? I'm gonna just jump right into this shit. It looks like I'm in fucking the Midwest or somewhere. This grass is just, it's not a reflection of the climate that I'm actually in. It's actually very green and it's still summer. Yeah, don't mind that. I'm here to speak on the Charlie Kirk situation. And by the situation, I mean him getting shot in the neck and dying. I want to start off by saying that the first word that comes to mind, what's been like a common thread amongst the discussion in regards to this subject, is empathy. That of which, if you don't know by now, he has very openly stated he doesn't believe in. Him being Charlie Kirk, the nigga who got shot in the neck. He's not a nigga, he was a white man.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up new age term that does a lot of damage, but...
Yes, he stated that it's some new age concept. Empathy is some new age concept that he feels like actually does more damage than good. I don't know what else followed after that statement, because that was the sound bit that was circling the net, and that's all I saw. But I imagine if I proceeded to see the video, he probably only doubled down on that statement and it worsened as he progressed. So there we go, right? He didn't believe in empathy, and he also felt like some deaths were he's okay with if it means he gets to protect the Second Amendment, which I should be more knowledgeable on as to what is. I assume it's maybe the right to bear arms or some shit like that. Something that protects guns being widely used across America and not being as regulated and controlled and not as easily accessible, you know, for whatever context that gives.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
So with those statements both being spewed from his own mouth, that was his wish. These were his own words and his own prophecy, which brought forth his own manifestation. That's simple. That's a world he wants to live in, where there's no empathy, apparently, and some shootings being okay, justifiable, right? Some shootings, some killing, some people dying by the hand of a gun being okay, being justified, you know, it's all right for him. Some, if it means the Second Amendment is protected. So with that being said, for his worldview, that's his manifestation, and to that I congratulate him. I congratulate him on his wish. I don't see any. I think it would be honestly disrespectful of me. Dead ass, I'm being so serious. It would be disrespectful of me to feel empathy. Why would I feel empathy? If I was Charlie Kirk, I'd be disgusted. You feel empathy for me? This is what I asked for. Now, of course, he if someone was to come up to him with a microphone as he was like laying on the ground in blood and was like, "Hey, do you think we should care about how you feel right now?" He would probably have a change of heart, change of mind. He probably would be like, "Oh yes, that E word that I condemned and belittled, actually, I could use some of that right now. Get me to the hospital ASAP, and in the name of empathy, please." Listen, bro, I am a very loving, compassionate person, and I hate saying that because love and compassion is just what is, you know. Having to state it feels a little weird, but I want to make it clear what side I stand on. Even without me saying it, it goes to show just by the energy I radiate and the vibration I emit, right? So with that being said, I'm a loving, compassionate person. I am always on the side of love, of unity, of fifth dimensional consciousness, which is Christ consciousness, which is unity consciousness, which is the dissolution of all separation, meaning that there's no separation between me, you, this blade of grass, that tree back there, the sky. Everything is all connected. It's just that our eyes deceive us and create this illusion of I'm in my body separate from you, separate from this person, separate from that person, plus I'm this identity. I'm Trey, you're Brianna, you're Ashley, you're Joseph, and I am an ambassador for all things unity, all things oneness. Let me make that clear. And I remember when I was talking to my friend Ike back in shouts out to Ike. I remember I was talking to Ike the first time I went to Costa Rica, and I think I mentioned something about like the government and their evil intentions, and I remember he was saying something about how like, hold on. And so I remember him asking me, as I was mentioning these conspiracies of the government or whatever, yo, so you don't feel like it's all source anyway? That even all the reptilians and Anunnaki and entities with negative agendas, you know, this is pretty much what he was asking. You don't feel like that's still source at the end of the day? It's like all one. And that question always stuck with me because I understood the perspective he was walking in, looking at things from a non-divisive perspective, where it's like, I'm not even finna play this game that like there's this energy trying to attack me or that I'm at war. Like he was just like in wholeness, in Costa Rican wholeness, like everything's source. So why even bother seeing an enemy? Why even bother having an enemy? And I remember the last time, just recently, I went to Costa Rica and I was with Ike and our homie Juan, who lives out there. I wish I had a better memory, but I remember him saying there's 3 things you need to know or have in mind or something like that. I think he was like the people you love, something, and your enemy. I'm butchering the fuck out of his quote, his words of wisdom, but I know the enemy was in there. He was like, recognize your enemy, know who your enemy is. And I've heard this before. Where people mention like, know your enemy, right? And to this, I say, it is important to know your enemy. And it is important to understand that this is all just a game at the same time, right? And that we're playing our part, we're playing our character, and that on the highest level of consciousness, it is all source. Even these egoic, greedy leeches, reptilians, fucking detached from source, like, negative alien agenda having ass beings that just do not want to see humanity evolve, that are detached from God, that are detached from their emotional component, who just see everything as just something to control and consume and leech off of and distort and manipulate. Even them, they're all going to have to go back to source one day, right? From the highest perspective of consciousness, that's just what it is. Everything's going to go back to God. Everything's going to go back to source. It's all a game. This has an intention and it has a purpose. But then here I am being a human and I'm watching innocent Palestinians go through what they're going through. Innocent Congolese people going through what they're going through. The nation of Sudan, Haiti, my ancestors, you know, and many more innocent people being taken advantage of. And I'm fucking furious. I'm upset. I'm fucking angry, bro. Because it's like Israel is bombing every fucking country they want to and just getting away with it. And then Joe Biden, when he was president, was like, oh yeah, send $100 billion to them to do more, to bomb more innocent Palestinians, to bomb Iran, to just $100 billion fucking dollars of my tax money and the people. And I just gotta sit back and just time to go to work. How am I gonna make money? How am I gonna survive? Nigga, are you fucking serious? You playing in my face like that? There's nothing that pisses me off more than innocent people being taken advantage of. And when I see shit like that, or for example, I see chemtrails being sprayed in the fucking sky when it's just supposed to be clear. Thank God it's clear right now. I look at the sky every day. As soon as I walk outside, the first thing I do is look up at the sky. I just gauge it. I love it. It's where I go to clear my mind. It's clear. It's supposed to be clear unless there's natural clouds there, right? I think I just farted. I did fart. Right? I just had to acknowledge it in case y'all heard it. I was gonna let it slide and just keep talking, but it's like if it was actually audible on camera, then I couldn't. I had to acknowledge it. If the sky is clear and it's supposed to be fucking clear, but then I see chemicals being sprayed everywhere, for example, right? And I just gotta breathe that shit in. I'm infuriated, bro. I am fucking angry. People be getting into it with their peers and their brothers and sisters and their friends over little petty shit and arguing over like crab in the bucket mentality. I don't give a fuck about this little mundane everyday relationship shit that people want to hold grudges and look at people as their enemy. And like, bro, we got bigger fucking issues. We got bigger worldly shit going on. That's what bothers me, bro. That's literally what bothers me. Innocent people being taken advantage of. Our air being sprayed with chemicals. And I just gotta... But see, when I consider it, I really do see them niggas as enemies, and it makes me want to fucking fight. The Dallas, Texas in me, the projects that I come from, where like I'm looking at this opposite, this thing that's like trying to harm me, and I'm finna throw hands. I'm finna give everything in my power to defend myself, to defend my name, to defend my honor in the most righteous way. At least from my perspective. I'm like, I know I'm a good person, and you trying to fight me? You trying to harm me? I'm finna beat your ass because I'm a good person. And that's how I feel about love as a concept. Not even a concept. Love as a state of being. Kindness as a state of being. And somebody taking advantage of that, or even innocence as a state of being, right? Just a quality of consciousness. I love saying consciousness. That's my favorite word. Consciousness. Consciousness. So like powerful. Consciousness, you know? For that to be taken advantage of, kindness being taken advantage of, the same way the Native Americans and indigenous people were taken advantage of when they were just inviting and open to these Europeans coming upon their land, discovering their land. That type of kindness, that type of love and open-heartedness being taken advantage of bothers the fuck out of my soul. And it makes me realize on this level where I'm at right here, playing the game, in the movie, in the film, being the character, like, no, I'm fucking upset. We do have an enemy. We are in spiritual warfare. There's levels to it. From the highest level, again, it's all source. That those egomaniacs that want to control Earth, they're gonna have to reap their karma. They're gonna have to reap what they sow. That their time is gonna come. You know, that's gonna happen at some point in this universal time matrix. At some point, that's gonna happen. That's gonna take place. You know, that's outside of my hands. But when a nigga gets shot in the throat after spewing so much hatred and just distortion, literally distortion. Every time a woman who had to do something for her own body, for example, get an abortion, right? For whatever reason she needed to get an abortion, because it's not our fucking business, right? Any reason. She felt like she needed to do that for herself. And then a nigga like Charlie Kirk is spewing, oh, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. You're murdering babies. You're murdering babies. If I had a 10-year-old daughter and she was raped, she would still deliver the baby. And just knowing that, or maybe not knowing, or not even giving a fuck, to know that women have gone through so much trauma through their vessels, through their bodies, that of which he doesn't have, which is a female vessel, a female biology, and yet he wants to say it should be policed, and other people like him. That is spewing distortions into the matrix, because one, it's not your fucking business. It's literally not your fucking business. Under the guise of, oh, we're saving babies, you try to make it seem like it is. In reality, how much do you really give a fuck about babies? Like, how much is your heart open? How much was his heart open? I mean, he's not here to how much was his heart open when he saw a baby and he was around them, like, and they felt his loving energy? How much did his words match the actual love of babies that he wanted to protect so much from getting aborted? I'm positive it wasn't in here. It was all in here, just a debate of the mind and just wanting to be right and ego and try to tell other people what they can do about, just spewing distortions, distorting the matrix, distorting the field, and then got shot in the throat because it was like, all right, it's time to shut the fuck up. It's time to shut the fuck up. And my thing is, like, is that the answer? I don't think so. No. Because at the end of the day, he died not knowing. He died not knowing that... Sorry, my phone went dead. He died not knowing why he got shot. And that's what's unfortunate. Assuming that the person who shot him for those reasons, you know. But yeah, he died not understanding how his words truly affected people, and how the position he was in, lying on the floor, gunshot in the neck, was a direct result of his own words and prophecies and ideologies. He died not knowing that that was a direct cause, a direct reflection of what he was asking for, of the world he wanted to live in and be a part of. He died not knowing. He died not knowing that love was the answer, that unity was the answer, that he should have chose to listen to people and empathize with people instead of wanting to debate them and speak over them and belittle them in a condescending tone and being right and being in his ego and bravado and speaking with all these political terms and getting his rocks off like that. Like, he died not coming to his heart, coming back to his heart, coming back to empathy. He died believing empathy was just some new age concept that was damaging or something. Whatever. I don't understand how he thought that. But yeah, he died like that, and I don't think that helps. And granted, if someone was to like shoot Donald Trump and assassinate him, I don't know if that solves the problems, right? I don't know if me pulling the chemtrail pilots out of the sky and boxing them niggas the fuck up would give me, well, that would give me a lot of contentment. I want to fight them niggas, bruh. I want to fight them niggas so bad. empathy, bro. Like, you know, I'm honestly, I know I'm all over the place, but I really wasn't understanding why people were trying to go back and forth and acknowledge the people who wanted to guilt trip people who were celebrating or not mourning his death to empathize and like be understanding and show a sensitivity to the matter. I just was like, I'm not even finna acknowledge that, because like that's probably only a few people. But then I start to realize, no, wait, it's a lot of people who are doing this, and I realized that they're doing that out of like fear or this fucking performative righteousness. Like, bro, I am a loving person. I wouldn't hurt a fucking fly. I really wouldn't, unless it's on my food. I don't even like killing insects. I will grab a spider in like a cup, put it on something, take it outside. Any bug, unless it's a cockroach, I'll put it in something and take it. I can't even kill it. So for me to not have any type of empathy towards this situation says a lot. It says a lot. Because it's like, where the fuck was the empathy for Fred Hampton when he got murdered in his apartment while he was asleep by the fucking FBI? Where the fuck was the empathy for Fred Hampton, bruh? Where the fuck was the empathy for Martin Luther King? For Assata Shakur, even though she's still alive, but still, they tried to kill her. For our black leaders. For the people who have paved the way for us that were assassinated and murdered. Malcolm X, you know. The whistleblowers. Where's the empathy for them? People who were actually doing good for humanity, who wanted to see humanity evolve. People who exposed the truth and got murdered for going against the grain. There's no empathy for them from that side, from the other side. So why the fuck do I need to show the fuck for what? What for what? So that I can get into heaven because God's watching me? Like, bro, that's that fake shit that y'all are subscribing to. And honestly, let me be nice, let me be kind, let me come back. Honestly, I don't subscribe to that. I don't have to be fake sensitive or like, I know I'm a loving person, but I know where to give my empathy and where to withhold it. That's just discernment. That's just discernment, and that's being in my power. I don't have any fear from not empathizing with this man and his family. I have no empathy whatsoever, bro. Niggas is dying every day in the hood, bro. Let me say hundreds of thousands of people that look like me have been murdered in the street, cold blood, by the police, by government officials, and also by other people that look like me. Niggas dying every day, B. Niggas dying every day, B, bro. He's not the exception that I gotta feel empathy for, you know? Every day, all of this shit happens beyond my awareness. Like, my empathy can only extend so far, you know? And it's not going in his direction. It's not going for him. It's not going to him and people who think like him, because they don't give a fuck about me. There would be no empathy if I was shot in the streets. They wouldn't care. Just like he said, I mean, he's okay with some gun violence happening in America as long as it protects the Second Amendment.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
I'm not gonna say I'm celebrating his passing, but I do recall watching him before he passed, and it was just like this video on some YouTube channel where he was debating these, I think they called them liberals, bro. Fuck all the politician talk and all the political terms. Like, I don't, liberals, right, left, and conservative, like whatever, all that shit. I don't care about that. But let's say like liberal queer people. He was debating them, the complete opposite of who he was, right? He was debating those people who believed in abortion, or not believed in abortion, believed in people having the choice, you know, pro-choice people and other liberal ideology type of people, right? He's debating them. I was seeing that, and I was watching him, and I'm like, all right, this nigga is in his fucking ego. I had no introduction to him. That was just like my first video seeing him, and I'm like, okay, I don't know who this white guy is, but he's very full of himself, and I could tell he's getting off on making these people upset, because at the end of the day, these people are just like, we should have our own freedom, and he's like, yeah, no, your body should be policed. And I was like, oh yeah, this nigga is kind of evil. I cut the video off like halfway through, and then I didn't hear nothing about him until yesterday, finding out he got shot. Anyway, I'm sending love to everybody who is on the side of love, and you know, I'm also sending love to those who aren't. But if you get shot in the process, I have no empathy for your passing. Energy never dies, it's only transformed. So, you know, that goes for death, that goes for getting shot in the neck, that goes for aborting fetuses. You know, nothing ever really dies. It might be painful. It might be painful to get shot in the neck. It may be painful for a woman to go through the abortion process. But, you know, nothing ever really dies. It's only reborn again and transformed into some new state of being. So, you know, yeah, I don't have to feel that bad for him. He'll come back in another form. Hopefully, this time with a little bit more balanced karma. Yeah, but that's the end of my TED Talk. Wait, there is one thing I wanted to say. Do I think people should be getting shot in the neck because they're spewing hatred? No. Shooting a nigga, Skyping a nigga, sniping a nigga, scoping, I put scoping and sniping together. Scoping and sniping a nigga in the head, in the neck, is not the answer. It's not the answer. I don't believe in that, you know? But I will say I didn't shoot the nigga, so he died how he died, and it is what it is, right? Now, this is the state of the world that we live in, specifically in America, definitely, because it's the leading country when it comes to mass shootings and lack of gun control, right? I understand the nature of the environment that we're in. It's just the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is very, very fucking atrocious. It's daunting, honestly. It's daunting when you think about it. So I try not to think about it. But then sometimes it pops up in my face and it reminds me of itself. So to that I say, I wouldn't want anyone else getting executed in this way because of I don't even want to say just their beliefs, because minimizing the things he was saying to just his political beliefs is such a irresponsible statement, because these are more than just beliefs. These are ideologies that uphold realities that we consistently experience on Earth. When you think something and you believe it, you're projecting that out into the collective experience, the collective consciousness, the collective field that we all intertwine and play with and experience with together. And so I'm not going to say like, okay, yeah, do I feel like someone should just get shot for their political belief? Like, because it's more than political beliefs. But do I feel like violence is the answer in this sense? No. But you tell me, as the viewer, what should be done. For example, let's give an example. The indigenous people, right? say we're the indigenous people in this situation of America, which a lot of us are, the indigenous people of this land, and then Europeans are coming along, discovering the land, and we invite them open-heartedly to rejoice in the land with us, everything that it offers, the food, you know, the elements, the wisdom, and they start to pillage us and take advantage of us and rape us and kill us. What do we do in that situation? Do you not shoot back? Do you not strike back? Do you not kill back? And I understand equating Charlie, the fuck was his last name? Charlie, that nigga, Charlie, equating him to the fucking Europeans that invaded indigenous land, but based on his ideologies, because he also believed all illegal immigrants should go back to the country that they came from, as if his ancestors, the people that came before him, weren't illegal, and not on top of just being illegal, but also being murderers. How do you address those people? You tell me. How should a situation like that be addressed? You gotta do a little bit of killing. You gotta fight back. You gotta defend yourself, and then you get back to the love. You get back to the communion. You get back to community, you know? You get back to the love. You get back to the unity. You gotta protect that. Somehow. I remember when Osho had his own commune. Shouts out to Osho. And the people of Oregon, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix. It's not the best representation. Actually, it's not a good representation of Osho at all, but it's the only documentary I've seen on his commune and stuff. But like, he had a commune in Oregon, and the Christian community in that county of Oregon did not like what the hell was going down on that commune, because they were living so free and open and having sex outside, and they started to threaten Osho's commune. And what did he do? He said, "I am not Jesus. I will not turn the other cheek." Them niggas came out with straps. Next thing you know, a week later, them niggas had straps at the entrance of the commune. They had straps, they had weapons, and they were prepared to protect themselves. So I ask you, if violence isn't the answer after violence has been inflicted onto us by the oppressor, then what is the answer? You tell me. Good night.